Have you ever felt that each passing day is a silent test? No one announces it, no one scores it, yet if you fail, you're the first to feel it. Not through something dramatic, but through the smallest of things. A look that lacks respect, a cold rejection, or simply the silence of someone you once trusted. This world doesn't need to scream in your face to shake you. It only needs to pull you away from yourself, inch by inch. One moment of anger, one emotional reaction, one time you forget what you once promised yourself. And then you realize what drains you isn't external pressure, but the inability to stay anchored from within. In this video, you won't learn how to defeat others. You'll learn how not to lose to yourself. Not through harshness, but through composure. Not through silence to avoid, but through silence to command. Because every day quietly asks you one thing. Can you truly govern yourself when life keeps testing you? 1. Emotions are not the enemy. They are the first test. There are mornings when you wake up without realizing what emotions you're carrying. Everything runs on autopilot. Coffee, car horns, the dim light of a day not yet fully awakened. But then, one small incident, a sarcastic comment, an ignored message, or unexplained silence, and the anger inside you gets triggered. No dramatic explosion, no loud outburst, just a subtle stir in your chest. And you know, you're being pulled away from yourself. Not by the world, but by emotions you never learned to master. We often mistake strength for the absence of emotion, but the Stoics never denied emotion. They simply refused to be ruled by it. Because if you allow yourself to be swept away every time something happens, you're living like a leaf in the wind, directionless, uncentered. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." And you have every right to no longer react the same way. But that's not easy. Emotion arrives before thought. It doesn't ask for permission. It rises from raw edges, from fragments of old memory, from things you've forgiven with words but haven't released in your heart. Some anger isn't about the present, it's about wounds you swallowed silently years ago. And when you react, you're not reacting to the person in front of you, but to the ghost behind them. That's why Stoics choose to pause instead of retaliate. They choose to breathe rather than shout. They aren't free of anger. They simply know it should never take the wheel. I once witnessed a man being humiliated in a meeting in front of more than 20 people. All eyes turned to him, waiting to see how he'd respond. He could have erupted, walked out, argued. But he did nothing. He looked directly at his critic. No smirk, no frown, no panic. Just a calm gaze as if he saw something others didn't. And then, when it was his turn to speak, he made no attack, no justification. He presented his points as if nothing had happened. Yet the entire room, including the one who insulted him, lost composure. He didn't fight. But everyone felt defeated. That day, I understood one thing. Emotions don't need to be eliminated. They need to be trained. Just like a warrior doesn't throw away his sword, he just learns not to draw it unless it's necessary. And that's what creates power. A person who can feel pain, disappointment, anger, and still respond with clarity is someone who has passed life's first and hardest test, the test of self. 2. When life gets hard, anchor yourself. But mastering emotions is just the beginning. Because after emotion, life continues to push you toward the unpredictable. The challenge doesn't stop at an insult. It expands into situations you can't fix: losing a job, betrayal, accidents, injustice. There are days when you control your reaction, yet still feel like you're sinking. Not because you're weak, but because you forgot something important. Balance alone isn't enough. You need an anchor, a place to hold steady when the world starts to tilt. There's one thing seasoned people understand: not every storm needs to be fought. Some storms you simply endure. But where do you stand still? If you're empty inside, if you have no value system to tether your mind to, then every setback will leave you lost again. Stoics don't battle adversity with brute force. They resist with inner architecture. With principles forged beforehand, principles no one can take away, even if the outer world collapses. Epictetus once said, "Don't wish for life to be easier, train yourself to be stronger." But how do you train when every day drags you into new whirlpools? The answer lies in proactively setting your anchor before the storm hits. Like a ship that doesn't wait for the winds to rage before lowering its anchor, you shouldn't wait until you're drowning to seek peace. Real peace doesn't come from the absence of problems. It comes from knowing exactly where you stand and what is non-negotiable. I went through a time when everything fell apart. At once, my career lost direction, a relationship ended, finances grew tight. And what kept me from collapsing wasn't optimism, it was routine. I still woke up early, wrote down my thoughts, read a page of philosophy, walked in silence, didn't skip a proper meal. These small acts, repeated, became anchors that kept me from drifting. No one saw it, no one praised it, but I knew I was holding myself together. When life gets hard, don't try to make it easier. Make yourself stronger. Don't look for someone to lean on. Become the anchor yourself, and if you don't know where to begin, start with one small thing. Show up on time. Stay silent a bit longer. Respond a bit slower. Be a bit kinder to yourself. From those small, a bit more steps, you'll build an inner self that can hold you steady no matter how often the storm returns. 3. Everything is temporary. Use it wisely. No matter how firm you stand, no matter how strongly your mind is anchored, there's one truth no one can resist. Everything passes. And sometimes that truth, not the crisis itself, is life's deepest test. Because people prepare for pain, but rarely learn how to live wisely with what won't last. We think pain will last forever, then believe joy will stay longer than we deserve. We welcome love as if it's fate, then fall into despair when it leaves without warning. We hold opportunity, talent, health, youth in our hands and assume they'll always be there. Until one day, they're gone. And we weren't ready. The emotion most easily wounded isn't sadness, it's the shock of realizing we were careless with what was never permanent. Marcus Aurelius didn't just teach awareness, he lived with impermanence. In his journals, one sentence echoes like a self-reminder. All that you hold dear will be swept away by time. There's no despair in that line. Only clarity. A reminder to see the true nature of things, to cherish them at the right time, and to let go when that time has passed. Stoics aren't cold. They live deeply because they know the more beautiful something is, the more fragile it becomes. I once sat by my father's hospital bed on an otherwise ordinary afternoon. He didn't say much, didn't offer grand farewells. He just told me, "Don't assume anyone's here forever. Not even me." That was the first time I truly understood. Someone's presence is a gift, not a guarantee. And if you treat people as if they'll always be there, you'll lose what should have been cherished. The same goes for pain. When you're in it, it feels like destiny. But one day when you walk out of it, you'll wonder, why did I believe it would never end? Everything is on its way out, both what you love and what you fear. So why not live more precisely in the moments you still have? Temporary doesn't mean worthless. In fact, because nothing stays, you must live with it wisely. Not to cling, but to part without regret. Not to control, but to make use of it. Not to prove anything to others, but to know within yourself that you didn't live superficially. For when you truly grasp how fragile everything is, you'll stop wasting every second that remains. 4. The illusion of control and the discipline of letting go. Recognizing that everything is temporary is a step forward in awareness. But that awareness creates a new temptation. We try to control more, hold on tighter, interfere deeper as an unconscious reflex to avoid losing again. And in the effort to keep everything close, we slowly become dependent, not on people or circumstances, but on the false sense of power that comes from believing we're in control. Yet there's one truth that's hard to face. What hurts most is not loss. It's the helplessness of realizing you never had control to begin with. We try to control what others say so they won't hurt us. We control the actions of those we love to avoid betrayal. We control the future by planning for every possible risk. But people still leave, the world still collapses, and even the most detailed plans can become meaningless after one unexpected event. That's when we see clearly. It wasn't carelessness. It was that all our efforts to control were built on an illusion. And the only thing that can save us then is not to grip harder, but to learn when to let go. The Stoic does not live with blind surrender, but neither do they fall into the illusion of power. They draw a sharp line between what lies within their influence and what must be allowed to unfold as it is. The greatest discipline is not doing everything but being clear-headed enough not to force the world into your mold. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning to prepare for things that go against his will. Selfish people, ungrateful words, chaotic moments. Not to react with anger, but to align his inner world before reacting on impulse. I once spent an entire month trying to save a failing project. Late nights, extra hours, endless meetings, constant adjustments, but things only got worse. And one evening, sitting alone in an empty room, I realized what drained me wasn't the work itself, it was my refusal to accept that it was time to let go. I didn't release it because I feared embarrassment. I feared being seen as a failure. I feared confronting helplessness, but when I finally let go, what arrived wasn't loss. It was a strange clarity. I saw the mistakes. I adjusted myself. And from then on, what I built no longer came from fear, but from intention. Letting go is not failure. Letting go is a high form of self-command. You can only release what you once gripped tightly, and you can only choose to release when you know you're strong enough not to be defined by it. Letting go must be trained like a deliberate habit, a reflex of someone who understands the boundary between what can be changed and what must be left untouched. 5. The strength in stillness, practicing calm under pressure. When you release what doesn't belong to you, what's left is not emptiness, but stillness. Not noise, not excitement, not the thrill of a right decision, but a silence, calm as a lake after a storm. And yet, living in that stillness is a challenge of its own, because silence is not natural. Human nature is pulled toward reaction, sound, and the pace of the world. Calm under pressure is not instinct. It's a skill, forged in every moment you choose to stand still instead of struggle. Calmness is not indifference. It's the state in which you fully sense the conflict, hear everything rising against you, understand the intensity of the situation, yet still refuse to let it govern your decisions. Stoics don't seek detachment from life. They walk directly into its chaos, but keep the mind unbroken. Because they understand, pressure itself doesn't destroy you. It's the unchecked reaction that causes internal collapse. I once watched a woman cornered in a negotiation. 4 men surrounded her, lowballing, pressuring, using harsh words. She said nothing for the first 10 minutes. No fear in her eyes, no trace of panic. Only listening and timing. When she finally spoke, in just 3 sentences, she reversed the entire situation. The conversation was no longer about power, it was about control. And she had it not because she spoke forcefully, but because she never let her mind get pulled into their provocation. Calm under pressure doesn't come from trying to stay calm. It comes from preparing your inner posture long before the moment arrives. Like a warrior who trains breath while there is no war. So when the battle comes, the breath remains steady. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for damage to begin journaling. He wrote every day as a way to reset the axis of his inner compass. Because he knew what causes people to drift off course is not the event, but an undisciplined mind before the event even begins. In an era where everyone is pulled into instant reactions, where every notification, word, and piece of news can throw your mind off balance, calmness becomes a rare form of power. You don't need to prove anything with words. Just keep your breath, your gaze, and your inner stillness intact. Others will feel it, and sometimes that unnerves them more than any blow ever could. 6. Let your emotions rise, but don't let them rule you. Not everyone can reach stillness, and not everyone who finds it has the courage to face what's still moving inside them. To remain calm in the outer world is a form of strength. But to stand still within the emotional storm inside you without avoidance, without being swept away, that's what separates someone who once fell apart from someone who's truly growing. We fear emotions because they've hurt us before. We once got angry and regretted it, once loved and got abandoned, once trusted too much and got betrayed. And from then on, we built layers of defense control, avoidance, denial. We called numbness resilience. We called apathy strength. But that's not peace. That's a distorted form of self-protection, because someone truly strong doesn't avoid emotion. They let it come, pass through, and move on without losing themselves. The Stoics never suppressed emotion. They observed it, created space from it. They didn't stop the flood, they built the levee. They didn't banish anger, they faced it, named it, and asked, "Where did you come from? Do I really have to obey you?" Epictetus once said, "The issue isn't that emotion arises, but how we choose to respond." Emotion may be instinct, but action is a choice. And emotional discipline begins the moment you separate the two. I once had a critical meeting where a partner suddenly turned hostile, attacking me personally, cornering me without warning. I could have fought back. I had done so before and everything fell apart. But that day, I didn't react. I let the anger rise in my chest, didn't deny it, but didn't let it shape my behavior. I let it pass like a wave. When I finally spoke, I wasn't reacting, I was directing, not because I wasn't angry, but because I knew if behavior is dictated by emotion, then anyone can nudge you off track with the smallest trigger. Training emotion doesn't mean trying to feel nothing. It means learning to feel deeply without losing clarity. To be sad without falling apart. To be angry without destruction. To be disappointed without giving up. A Stoic isn't stone. They are fire trained to hold their heat. They are water knowing when to rise and when to recede. They don't run from emotion because they've learned how to live with it without being ruled by it. 7. Hold the line when the world tests your principles. When emotions no longer dictate your responses, you begin to see the world through a different lens. No more noise. no more reactive urgency. And at that exact moment, you'll start noticing something you used to overlook. Some people, situations, and forces don't arrive to test your skills. They come to see whether you're awake enough to protect your boundaries. When you're calm enough to observe, you'll realize not all violations scream. Some arrive dressed in familiarity, closeness, or beautiful promises. And if you lack principles, you'll smile while your boundaries are being quietly stepped on. The world doesn't care what you've learned if you can't protect what you've learned. No one cares how much philosophy you read, or how many hours you meditate if one sarcastic remark can still make you question yourself. Principles aren't to make you look strong. They exist so you don't fall apart when everything around you begins to shake. Boundaries aren't fences. They are silent commitments between you and yourself. I will not betray myself, no matter who asks me to. A Stoic doesn't live to please. They live to be right. Right by what they've chosen to believe after reflection, after pain, after trial, when they know what's non-negotiable. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." A simple line. But in a world where everyone is pressured to blend in, worn down by daily compromise, where conformity is a default, being right and true becomes a courageous choice. I once had a relationship I thought was irreplaceable. We were close, bonded, shared deeply, but over time, I noticed my boundaries were blurring in the smallest of ways. A comment that pierced my dignity. A joke that crossed the line. A request that pulled me away from who I truly was. I let it go. Once. Then again. Until I realized I was trading self-respect to maintain a connection that had turned unhealthy. When I walked away, not in anger, not with blame, but with a calm and final silence, I understood something. Sometimes, what earns someone's respect isn't your explanation. It's your clarity on what must never be touched. Boundaries don't need to be spoken. They're built by how you react, how you choose to withdraw at the right time, by the clarity in your eyes and the consistency in your actions. And once your inner boundaries are forged like steel, you won't need to shout to be respected. The world will understand. Those who don't will quietly leave. 8. Let go without losing compassion. Holding the line is essential, but it must not be built on bitterness. Boundaries aren't stone walls to block everyone out. They are soft but clear lines where you take a step back, but not a step away. As you learn not to react emotionally, you'll come to realize sometimes you must walk away not out of hate, but because staying won't help anyone grow. In that moment, letting go is no longer rejection. It's the mark of compassion that has matured. Here's a hard truth. There are people you love, but cannot stay beside. Some who once saved you but later hurt you in ways deeper than anyone else. Some who aren't bad people, they're just not healed enough to walk beside you any longer. And if you equate compassion with holding on, you will break. Because forgiveness does not always come with continuation. You can forgive and still not hand someone the right to hurt you again. Stoics are not frozen, but neither are they ruled by feelings. They distinguish between compassion and weakness, between kindness and compromise. Seneca once said, "No man was ever wise by chance." Compassion in Stoicism doesn't come from swelling emotion. It comes from understanding that all humans are imperfect, including you. And if you hope to be forgiven when you're wrong, then you must learn not to turn others into enemies just because they caused you pain. I once ended a very deep connection, not because they betrayed me, but because every time I got close, I felt myself pulled into instability, dragged backward, doubting my own values. I tried many times to fix, to heal, to reconcile. But eventually I realized, when compassion becomes the excuse for forgetting your limits, it's no longer goodwill, it's self-destruction. I left, but I didn't blame, didn't badmouth, didn't prove who was wrong, because I knew preserving compassion is a gift not for them, but for myself. So that when I look back, I can say I left without losing the most human part of me. Letting go and compassion are not opposites. They are twin pillars of inner growth. One gives you freedom. The other keeps you from growing bitter in the process. When you hold on to compassion, you no longer need people to see you as kind, because you know you never degraded anyone. And when you release someone at the right time, in the right way, no resentment, no attachment, you'll realize. You don't have to keep someone in your life to keep yourself whole. 9. Build emotional endurance through repetition. Compassion doesn't make you weak, but it will not keep you upright without emotional endurance. Some leave a toxic relationship only to return weeks later, not because they don't know what's right, but because they haven't built the strength to withstand the loneliness that comes with choosing right. Some stay silent in chaos, but rush to explain themselves after one misunderstanding. Not because they don't understand boundaries, but because they haven't trained the endurance to stick with them. And this is what Stoic philosophy has always taught. Strength doesn't come from insight alone, but from repeated practice every single day. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations to teach others. He wrote it for himself to recall what he knew, what he needed to preserve, what he had to reinforce. Each line a personal reminder. Stay disciplined, stay awake, stay consistent, because the human mind does not remain still. If left untrained, it leans back into old habits, old reactions, old wounds. A Stoic doesn't wait for emotions to settle to do what's right. They do what's right to realign the emotion. Emotional endurance isn't innate. It's the result of choosing the right thing in the smallest of moments over and over. It's when you're exhausted, but still sit down to write your worries rather than avoid them. It's when you're insulted, but instead of reacting, you take a breath and walk away without the need to respond. It's when you miss someone deeply, but you don't go back because you've learned that temporary feelings are not worth breaking the progress you've made. Each of these acts seems small, but repeated hundreds of times, they become the firm foundation of a mind that cannot be easily shaken. I used to think emotions were something to solve once and for all, but I eventually learned what grounds me is not the big breakthroughs, but the small things repeated consistently. Just as muscles are not built in a single workout, inner strength is not forged from one epiphany. It grows in every morning you choose to sit with yourself, every time you refuse to react, every night you accept loneliness without surrendering to it. And eventually, you no longer need to announce you've changed. Your silence alone is enough to show the world. This is someone no longer easily pulled by it. 10. Everything will pass, so live precisely while it's here. There is a quiet moment you'll reach when you've consistently repeated the right actions. Your mind no longer gets pulled away, but begins to return to center. You no longer react out of habit, no longer act out of pressure, but because you've chosen to consciously, clearly. And from that place, you'll see a truth you may have heard before, even known but never truly felt in your bones. Everything will pass. Anger will fade. Sadness will settle. The person who hurt you will leave. The one who once loved you deeply may change their heart. What breaks you today will one day become a faint memory tucked away in time. And because everything will pass, you must live with precision in every action, every word, every time you rise after a fall. Because what you choose today will leave a mark inside you longer than anyone else ever could. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you are going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you while you live, while it is in your power. Be good." Not to fear death, but to remember. If everything will end, then the only thing that matters is how you lived while it lasted. A kind act, a right decision, a moment of well-timed silence, even when unseen, quietly shapes who you become. I used to postpone things, thinking there would be a better time. I thought I'd write when inspiration came, apologize when the other person was ready, live truthfully when no one was judging. But I was wrong. Opportunities don't repeat. People don't wait forever. Time never announces its exit. And what is right must be done at the right time, not the convenient one. Since understanding that, I've started living as if every action matters, because in truth, it does. Live as if each day is your response to a test you cannot postpone. You don't need to rush, but you must live rightly. You don't need recognition, but you must not live carelessly. Because everything will pass, but how you lived will stay with you forever. I used to believe that strength had to be shown outwardly. It had to speak loudly. It had to act decisively. It had to win every conversation. But then came a time when everything inside me shattered, not because I failed, but because I no longer believed in myself every time I reacted too quickly. Every time I rushed to do something just to avoid feeling weak. I spent too much time chasing validation from the outside, until I stopped, stepped back, stayed silent, and began sitting with myself every morning. No one saw it, no one applauded it, but I knew. I was changing, quietly, without proving anything. Simply by living precisely each day, even when no one noticed. And for the first time, I felt a kind of strength that was real. The kind that needs no recognition, because I no longer live to be recognized. Consistency doesn't come from one grand decision. It comes from small acts repeated in silence. And if you're walking that path, know this: you are not alone. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next content. Be a quiet man, but not an invisible one. Be a calm man, but never an ordinary one. See you in the next video.